Alright guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Destiny and I'm the host of Decimania. How was your day going? I'm back with another video and today we are going to be talking about the Nexus. This is one I've been wanting to do for a while too. I was going to do this on the 10-year anniversary, but I hadn't grown comfortable in front of the camera yet by myself, so here we are 2 years later. If you're new here, or if you like my content and haven't subscribed yet, please do. Want to get to 50 subscribers by the end of the summer, and 100 by the end of the year, and then we'll keep on going from there. So if you could please share this video and any other previous video I've done. Turn on that notification bell, like the video, leave a comment down below, all that fun stuff. Please contribute to my channel. Okay, so the Nexus, this was one like the Straight Edge Society that started out great, and then, well, it kind of fell apart. That being said, this is the story of the Nexus. June 7th, 2010. It was Viewer's Choice Night, I believe, where the fans could pick stipulations in the matches, and the main event was John Cena and the fan-selected opponent, CM Punk. Now this is strange because Punk would still be the leader of the Straight Edge Society at this point. They hadn't exactly broke up yet, or they hadn't disbanded yet. Check out my How I Would Have Booked the Straight Edge Society video on my channel to see how I would have played out the ending. But this was right around the time that they were getting ready to, well, let's face it, there was nothing left of it, and Punk was facing John Cena that night. And midway through the match, the Nexus come out. Well, Wade Barrett first comes out. Then you had Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, Skip Sheffield, who would later go on to become Ryback. Yeah, he sucks. Sorry. Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, Ryback, David Otunga, Darren Young, Michael Tarver, and Daniel Bryan would then follow Wade Barrett out to the ring. And they started beating the crap out of Cena. They beat the crap out of CM Punk and Luke Gallows. They took out the announcers, the referee. They took out the ring announcer, Justin Roberts. And it was just chaos. Wade Barrett at one point took the covering off of the ring and dismantled the ring. Saved the crew a job that night. Did the ring crew's job that night, did Wade Barrett. Daniel Bryan at one point choked Justin Roberts with his tie, which WWE did not find so PG, because it was a PG era back then, and Daniel Bryan actually got fired for that, even though, you told them to make it look and seem legitimate. So why didn't you just let that happen? I don't know. But let's face it, back-to-back summers had back-to-back summers in 2010 and 2011 had great stories. The Nexus in 2010, and then the summer of Punk, CM Punk dropping the pipe bomb and all that. The pipe bomb promo, as it's now called. And I mean, let's just face it. The Nexus was the hottest thing going then. They would come out for weeks from here on out, just dismantling people, beating up John Cena, costing John Cena title matches. They cost him Money in the Bank. They helped Sheamus win at Fatal 4-Way the month prior to that. They beat up Ricky Steamboat and a bunch of WWE legends. It was crazy. And for a while, the Nexus was the hottest thing going. And if you haven't seen the debut yet, or you haven't seen that episode of Raw, go on the network. I believe it's season 18, episode 23, maybe? I'll have to look at that again, but I'm pretty sure it's in there somewhere. It's on June 7th, 2010, and I remember being, I think I was 9 at the time. I was getting ready to turn 10. Yeah, and that summer I had actually, that was the same week of my first live WWE event experience. I haven't been to one since. I haven't been to a WWE event since, but that was the same week of the Nexus debuting, and it was John Cena and Sheamus for the title. I remember watching that live. But the Nexus was going good, and then at SummerSlam, it just was kind of the beginning of the end. This is where it should have this is where John Cena and Team WWE should have lost. Because if you guys remember, it was Team Cena versus the Nexus, or Team WWE, versus the Nexus. And that's where they chose Daniel Bryan for their team. Team WWE did. And it just was the beginning of the end. Not to mention, I really think instead of Randy Orton, they should have had Wade Barrett beat him. If you wanted to have Sheamus win, or Randy win at Night of Champions, fine. But then at the next pay-per-view, have Wade Barrett, you could have had Wade Barrett beat Randy for the title at Hell in a Cell. But that's another video to discuss. I'll do a whole rebooking of the Nexus later. But no, they got buried, essentially. The wrong team won, and John Cena even admitted that, so don't go hating Cena. I'm not saying it was Cena's fault. But, John Cena's not the only one making these decisions. It's Vince's decision ultimately, but no, I think Cena should have lost that night. Team WWE should have lost, and the Nexus should have won. Now, this is where it gets weird. So, right after they lose at SummerSlam, they come back out. They beat up Bret Hart, by the way, too. They freaking threw him in the back of a limousine and drove it into another car or something. I don't remember what they did exactly. But it was the night that they wanted contracts from Bret, and because Bret was the on-screen general manager at the time, and they chased Bret out in the parking lot at the end of the show that night and demand WWE contracts, and Bret doesn't give them to him, so they get into this limousine with Bret in the back, and they ram him into something. I don't remember what they did, but now if you'll remember, Wade Barrett got that chance at, I think it was What pay-per-view was that? Was that Bragging Rights? Where... Because I think Randy faced Sheamus in a rematch in Hell in a Cell. Well, anyway, Wade Barrett won this 20-man battle royal and faced Randy at one of the pay-per-views. I think it was Bragging Rights. And lost. I think it should have been in Hell in a Cell, but it wasn't. Wade Barrett, even then, should have won at Bragging Rights. And then you could have done the whole storyline that they did next, where if John Cena... Or wait a minute. I think Bragging Rights, if I remember correctly, was the stipulation match where if Cena lost or something, then he would have to join Nexus. Didn't he face Wade Barrett at one of those? I'm so confused. So, at one point, it doesn't matter. At one point or another, there's a stipulation match between John Cena and Wade Barrett. Or maybe it was Cena and Orton. Or Orton and Barrett, sorry. That were... Oh, frick. Guys, I just had a freaking huge, brain fart. Hold on. Okay. So, I forgot what happened after SummerSlam. So, somebody correct me in the comments. Who did Wade Barrett face at Hell in a Cell? Was it Randy Orton or was it John Cena? I think it was John Cena, because if I remember correctly, Wade Barrett got a match at Bragging Rights, didn't he, against Wade Barrett? And then it was something of the other where if it was Orton and Barrett at Survivor Series or something, and if Cena was the referee, and if Randy won, then Cena was fired, and if Wade Barrett won, Cena was free of Nexus or something like that. I think that's how it went. I don't remember every detail. My memory's a little foggy, but those events happened at some point or another during the story, and then it lasted about a month. Randy Orton wins at Survivor Series, Cena gets fired, and then ultimately Randy loses the title anyway to Miz on Raw, which, again, Wade Barrett should have been the champion, but I digress. But then it just gets really weird. So, after Survivor Series, he's gone for like a month. This is when CM Punk started joining commentary, and he actually did really good. I think he got injured or something. He had like a hip injury or something like that, and he was on commentary for a couple months when, honestly, he should have been at home recuperating, but, whatever, it's WWE's call. And I have to say, CM Punk was really good on commentary. I kind of miss that. I hope we get more of that in AEW. But after Survivor Series, Cena kind of starts showing up on Raw and beating the crap out of Nexus members, and then running away through the crowd. He would show up with like a ticket and stuff like that, and show up at the hotel rooms and beat them up. And finally they were like, okay, Wade, just give him his job back, and Wade Barrett rehires him. And then Cena challenges him to a match for tables, ladders, and chairs. This is actually, you know what? Forget it. This is where the symbolic and literal burial of Wade Barrett took place. Sorry, I'm laughing because it's freaking absurd. There is literally a spot in the match where, I don't know, Cena's got Wade Barrett down or something. I don't know if it was on a table or just in the ring somewhere. He's just laying there with stuff on top of him, and if that wasn't bad enough, John Cena pulls this chain or something, and 23 chairs, or however many it was actually, land on top of Wade Barrett. Now that was the proverbial burial right there. That just made me, at the time I was like, oh yay, Cena won. And then, looking back now, I'm like, that should have been, Wade should have won that. Sorry about that confusion. I hope I got that right, about the pay-per-views and all that. Because I know there was one where Cena faced Wade Barrett, and then there was another one where if Cena lost, he would have to, join Nexus or something. No! Actually, I think what happened was, I think I remember it now. I think it was if Cena won, it was a Hell in a Cell. It was Wade Barrett and John Cena. And if Cena lost, then he would have to join Nexus. I figured it was something like that. Then that must have been the match at Bragging Rights where Cena, costs him the match accidentally. I think that's what it was. Sorry, I had to correct myself. Yeah, it was. But anyway, back to this tables, ladders, and chairs thing, where Cena basically buries Wade Barrett. And then we find out that from David Otunga that Nexus is under new management. Now, a week prior to this, CM Punk just randomly gets up off of the commentary table, or off the commentary, gets up, gets a chair, and attacks Cena in the ring. And he does this on SmackDown, too, that week. And then David Otunga comes out and says, yeah, there's new management, and then they start beating down Cena again, like they did every other time they stepped in there with him. And then CM Punk's music hits. This is before he had Cult of Personality. I believe it was This Fire Burns by Killswitch Engage. And which is a good song. Only song I really know by them. But Punk gets up and he reveals that he's a member of Nexus. So basically Nexus kind of had two main sections or time periods or incarnations. I don't know what you call that. There was two different time frames within Nexus. It was almost like there was two different eras, where it was the Wade Barrett era, and then it was the CM Punk era, where Punk took over, which was cool. I mean, it was fine. It just, some things about it didn't make sense and could have been done better, which I'll book that in my Nexus video at some point. I just need to think this stuff out. But Punk was giving them these initiations where I think it was David Otunga had to get knocked out by the Big Show, had to take a knockout from the Big Show willingly. Oh, well. Michael McGillicuddy and Husky Harris, who had joined Nexus at some point. I don't remember when that was. McGillicuddy had to take every move from the Nexus and then get hit with a GTS by CM Punk. Harris had to take basically what Tommy Dreamer had to, but he had to take 3 lashes from each of the Nexus members with a leather strap before Punk just decided he was going to start freaking beating the crap out of him. And then he did David Otunga's, which he had to get knocked out by Big Show, Then he did Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel's initiation, which he made them, tried to make them hit each other with kendo sticks until he told them to stop, but they wouldn't do it, so they left and went and joined Wade Barrett in the new group, The Core, which was honestly a waste of time. But I mean, I don't know if it was a complete waste of time, but it just felt weird. The Nexus shouldn't have been split up like that. It was just weird. But then he starts feuding with Randy Orton, and then ultimately brings in Mason Ryan. Orton then goes on a punting spree and kicks everybody in the head. So they have a match at WrestleMania and a match at Extreme Rules. So, Punk almost did an ultimate sacrifice where he was going to jump off of the Tron onto the ring or whatever, and then he was like, you thought I was going to do this? Why would I do that? I'm not an idiot. I have two men back here spotting me. I'm safer up here than you guys are in your seats, and basically tricked the audience into thinking that he was going to freaking give the ultimate sacrifice, which I don't know, but it just kind of it just fizzled out from there, because they had a feud with Randy Orton, and then the pipe bomb promo happened. And the Nexus, he was still wearing his Nexus armband, I think, that night, too. Like, the Nexus was out there the night that he cut the pipe bomb promo. Not when he did it, but, like, the same night in a previous segment where he was confronted by Shawn Michaels. The new Nexus was out there with him, and that's the last we saw of him with the Nexus. But ultimately, it started out good, and then it just flopped. It just kind of became one of those what-if situations where if they would have just tweaked a couple things and did some certain things right, then Nexus probably would still be, I mean, it still is, but Nexus probably would have been over more than they were when they first came in. Nexus would have been a bigger deal if they would have just done it right, but they didn't. They buried the Nexus, essentially. Now, a couple of them went on to have some success, like Ryback had a little bit of success. He was over with the fans. I never really liked Ryback. Even when he was a face, I was always a CM Punk person or John Cena person. But Daniel Bryan, we all know what he went to do. He became WWE champion. Won the world title a couple times. Wow. Freaking Justin Gabriel could have been more. Heath Slater definitely could have been more. Although he did have that one storyline in WWE where he was doing the whole I got kids free agent thing where he was undrafted or he wasn't picked for the draft. That was a cool storyline and very underrated. He's in TNA now, so that's cool. Or Impact. Sorry, I'm going to keep calling it TNA because that's what I know it is. But no, the Nexus could have been way bigger. Husky Harris, of course, went on to become Bray Wyatt later. And it just was one of those stories that could have gone way better. Like the Straight Edge Society. I'm going to be talking about the Aces and Eights too at some point. And the Nexus. I already did one for the Straight Edge Society. I might as well do one for Nexus. And eventually Aces and Eights, which that's going to be a little bit hard, but yeah. I remember the Nexus fondly. I have fond memories of the Nexus. I still go back and watch that stuff every once in a while on, the network. I'll go back and watch all those episodes of Raw where they made their debut and, all the stuff that they did. That was fun. That was fun. I enjoyed that, and I wish there was... Well, I guess we got the Bloodline story, but other than that, I don't know if there's anything that's been more talked about like that since the Nexus. Maybe Aces and Eights, but not nearly to the level the Nexus was. But no, that was just a storyline that was very enjoyable and could have been so much more had they done it right. Both with the CM Punk leadership and Wade Barrett leadership. I mean, you could have even made them co-leaders at one point, like Punk giving him tips, like, no, you need to lead them like this and get them on the right path. But they didn't do that. But yeah, that's my take on the Nexus. Just thought I'd come up here and share some memories of them and what I thought of the whole thing. And yeah, if you haven't seen any of that stuff yet, most of it is on YouTube, except for maybe the pay-per-view matches that they had, with Wade Barrett and Heath Slater and not Heath Slater, but Wade Barrett and John Cena. I think their Hell in a Cell match is there with Cena and Barrett, but I don't know. But most of that stuff's there. The Nexus debuts there. Punk joining Nexus. You just gotta look. It's really good. Or just go on the network and just watch all those episodes from June. It basically kind of lasted a year almost, really. From June 7th of 2010 to June 7th of 2011. Or June 27th, rather. Sorry. But that was the official end date of the Nexus, was June 27th. The night CM Punk changed the world of wrestling and his career as we know it. But no. Let me know what you guys thought of the Nexus. Did you like it? Did you think it could have been done better? You think that it was just a rip-off of the NWO? What did you guys think it was? Let me get your guys' comments and let me know your opinions and thoughts on this. Wow, that's all I have for this video, and I will see you guys later. Peace.